Welcome to Wellness Spring, where we cut through the health confusion with insights from the world's leading expert. In this insightful episode, we're joined by renowned German naturopath Peggy Weis, an expert with over 16 years of experience in Mougins and Monaco. Peggy is here to address global health crisis, the widespread of deficiency of vitamin D. Often misunderstood, vitamin D isn't just a vitamin. It's a potent steroid hormone we mainly get from the sun exposure, also known as the sunshine vitamin. Peggy will reveal why this essential nutrient is so crucial, how it affects everything from immunity to chronic illness, and why regular vitamin D checks can be life-changing. Join us as Peggy shares her experts' insights on how to reclaim your health by getting your vitamin D levels on track. Welcome, Peggy, to Wellness Spring Show. It's so lovely to have you with us today.
I'm really happy to be with you after such a long time. Yeah,
Yeah,
almost 5 years. Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to work out this morning when I came to your beautiful office in Mougins in the south of France, and also reflecting on the lovely event we did with Victoria Ritchie, Eckhart Tolle's editor, in the museum there in Mougins.
Yeah, good memories. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So could you please tell the audience some of your background about how you got involved in all you do and where it's led you in your life today?
Mhm. Yeah, it's well, I'm originally from Germany. I was born and raised there in Germany. I think I spent there more like, I would say like 24, 25 years. I finished my studies also in Germany. I was into finance and IT. So it was not really foreseen that I will end up in the medical field at this time. And then after, at this time, it was in the 90s, I moved to France. It was because of love. So I was married and also there in France, and I got my kids in France, my early 30s. And there it started my journey into the medical area a bit because one of my kids, my son, he was almost all the time sick, and I had the feeling every time I went to the doctors to see him, well, he only the thing he did was prescribe another antibiotics. And every time I saw my kid more and more sick, and I said, well, there must be something else. And that's how my journey started. I discovered, well, the more holistic way of treatments and natural way. So, and I started to see doctors, different doctors, homeopaths, naturopath, and and my son is cured, so he's very healthy, and I said, so oh, interesting, and that's how everything started, and I became curious, and then really started my journey, and even doing like weekend trainings, getting more and more interested. And even when I was a working mom, so I do not even know how I got the time to do all of this with two little kids. But in the evenings and in the weekends, I took like really new. I studied again. I studied Chinese medicine as well, dietetics. I started with the naturopathic, the German Heilpraktiker as well. I did these studies, and then I met classical homeopath in Germany. So. Yeah, it was a big new world for me and so fascinating. And I catch it up so easily that it was quite normal for me that this is the thing that I have to do in life. And so I think it was 2007, 2008, I decided to quit my job and I started working as a German naturopath in south of France. I opened my office and I was working in the office until 2022, and I closed the office in Mougins, and now I'm seeing my patients worldwide via Zoom or WhatsApp consultations. That's still possible, and I help and guide people with well, what I can do.
That's wonderful because I know you were super busy in Mougins and you can, with live patients and you continue to be so now you're doing the Zooms. Um, yeah, so when I reached out to you, I was horrified that I'd gone to a doctor here in Australia asking, for my normal blood tests because we just moved here from France and wanted a vitamin D. And then he said, have you ever had one before here in Australia in your life? And I said, I'm not sure. And he said, oh, the reason I'm asking because you're only allowed one in your lifetime because the rules have changed. And I said, oh, that's crazy. And he said, no, not really, because if your test is low, you just take 2 vitamin Ds for life. And if it's high, you don't need to take any. So I thought, obviously, he doesn't know the true benefits, and that's why I reached out. So, could you tell us what exactly is vitamin D and what is it good for?
Yeah, it's really like the vitamin D. It's called a vitamin, but actually it's more like a steroid hormone. It's very, very important to our body and has a multitude of functions to, yeah, to do in our bodies. So of course it's the most and the main reason and why a lot of people talk about vitamin D is because it's strengthening our bones, our skeletons, and our immunitary system. That's very, very important. And we also have to differentiate, but this maybe we can do in a later phase. They are vitamin D2 and vitamin D3, but the most used, widely spread used is vitamin D3, and it has this funny name of cholecalciferol. So this is what you see normally on the package of your product. Yeah.
Wow. And how did you discover that there was a vitamin deficiency in the population?
I started noticing it in, I think it was like 10 years ago. Like I said, I have also like functional medicine studies. So people realized that I can read the blood tests. So that they brought to the office, they came with their blood results they got from the labs. And then I realized, because at that time it was like standard. Every yeah, I would say GP, general doctor, prescribed automatically vitamin D because he knew it was very important, and it was still reimbursed by yeah, the Social Security in France. And so I could see already in 2000, yeah, let's say 15, that a lot of people have been on deficiency, and I was really surprised because my office was in south of France, so I thought that we are really having like a lot of this sunshine vitamin D around, and you go to the beach, and it's normally nice weather. But then I started a little bit my quest on this vitamin D deficiency, and I realized that like it is mainly absorbed over the skin. It's like even in south of France, you cannot produce the vitamin D over your skin after October. It's like the sun declines, and in wintertime, you need to live with the reserve that you have done over the summer. So it starts again in April in south of France that you can start producing again your vitamin D. And so I was really looking into solutions, how to help people getting out of these deficiencies.
And what are the signs and symptoms of a
I
lack of
realized,
vitamin D?
yeah, with this vitamin D deficiency, I realized that I saw that there was really like a, yeah, like a pattern that these people are really prone to more flu and more diseases, having more diseases in wintertime because the immunitary system was weaker because, well, it could really, you could really see that the defensive system was not operating at its best. But you could also see like people with autoimmune diseases are very prone to deficiency. Then also you can see people with like mood changes, depression, anxiety. And then sometimes I realized, yeah, maybe it should be better to test first the vitamin D level before you go on really hard treatments, you know. So, and then also you could see, like, of course, osteoporosis is a vitamin D deficiency. You can see it on your skin as well, like psoriasis also have it. But it could also be like a malfunction in your absorption of the food that you're eating, or malabsorption of the fat products. So that means people with having no more gallbladder, they cannot absorb correctly their vitamin D. So, and doctors don't tell them that they are really prone to having a deficiency. Also, people with Crohn's disease, with like celiac disease, having a SIBO, which is a small intestine bacterial overgrowth. This is happening in your small intestine. Also, these people having often this deficiency. And what else can I say? Yeah, like irritable bowel symptoms as well. So I mean, it's really a lot. And then, of course, not to forget the vegan and the vegetarians, because it's also over the food that you can absorb vitamin D, and they have less of vitamin D with their food intake.
Yes, well, I experienced that and being a vegan, and Brian and I did 3 winters in different countries. My vitamin D was low, and that's why I reached out to first of all in Mougins. So, wow, that's so many illnesses that or diseases that can be caused from vitamin D deficiency. And I know you've only touched the surface and there's so many more. How is it diagnosed?
Well, the diagnosis is only done by blood test. That's all you can do to be sure.
Right. And would you need to see a general medicine doctor first to get the blood test?
Well, I mean, this is depending on the country you live in. I mean, sometimes you need to have a prescription to go to the lab to have the work done. But in other countries, you can just step into your lab and you say, I would like to have a test, a vitamin D test, and you get the results during the day.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the case in France. We were blessed there to have it twice a year without prescription, which I thought was really good. And why do you think it's such a widely spread deficiency amongst our population?
Well, I think that it's really, we are really now civilization that is living more and more inside. I mean, we are so inside, working in front of the screens. We have all these digital nomads these days. Even the kids, they have so much of a screen time. I mean, they don't go outside. I mean, they have no sun exposure anymore. Then also you could see like the elderly people in the elderly houses, the retirement, they don't have the time to go out, or they're not sitting all the time inside in front of the TV or screen. Yeah, it's really like there's this lack of, yeah, going outside. It would be good to walk a little bit the dog, or but yeah, this is for me that the main reason. I see that we are really all the time in our houses. Then of course you have also like people like in certain religions, then you have like covered your face so you cannot absorb the vitamin D correctly. Also, what I always say, people from Africa or African Americans, they have the skin pigmented, which is normally used to be with an African sun. So they need to take vitamin D because they have not enough of sun exposure. Then also, like, people now are getting more and more the information, you need to have this sun protector on your skin. No, you need to have also your skin exposed to the sun, otherwise you cannot absorb it correctly. So these are for me a lot of these patterns that, yeah, why we were not absorbing it correctly. And then also like this, a lot of people are now going vegan, not eating meat anymore. This is also a reason that I can see. Then also like, yeah, statins, for instance. So many people are taking statins for reduction of cholesterol. You need to know, if you're in a statin treatment, you cannot absorb your vitamin D. So this is a huge problem. And this I see also
Wow.
quite often. Yeah.
So, what is the main treatment for deficiency? Because you've mentioned diet and the sunshine.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, these are already the two. If I see that the deficiency is very, very high, I mean low, when they don't have a lot of vitamin D, I go on every angle. That means I would take the three possible parts I can do, which is sun exposure, to be increased, really like
Yeah.
walking the dog, going to a hiking troop or something, or more gardening, or prescribing really like outside, getting the sunshine on your skin. Then, of course, changing your food intake, what you eat, your diet, and of course, supplements. I go with supplements because to help people to raise their level of vitamin D, you need help. You mean you cannot go outside and get sunburned. I mean, and stay 8 hours outside. I mean, so really, you need to have the help of supplements. When it comes to food intake, I always recommend to have more like oily fish, for instance, integrated in your daily plan, or also like this, how is it was called in the liver oil, the called liver oil with this taste. Maybe somebody will remember when they had to take the spoon in wintertime. So this
Mm.
is a super powerful vitamin D intake. Then of course also like salmon is good, or you could have like in the mornings like really good eggs, organic eggs in the morning. This is a really good intake. Mushrooms contain a lot of vitamin D. This is not well known neither. Then a lot of green and fresh vegetables, salads, so also vitamin D. And yeah, there they are, some things that you could really change.
Yeah. So you mentioned supplements, and I know you always recommend vitamin D if it's low. Um, what other supplements do you recommend as well?
I mean, to increase your absorption of the vitamin D, as this is the main topic that we're talking about today, is you could combine it with the intake of the magnesium in the evening. I also didn't mention hour is important when you take the vitamin D. And this I always say, take it in the evening, during or after dinner. Because like I said in the beginning, it's a fat soluble vitamin. That means it needs really fatty substance that your body can absorb it. So it's good to, for instance, to combine it also with omega-3. But magnesium, especially the glycinate, it's like called glyphosate. No, I have to check it out, which is because there are different types of magnesium which are really good for the absorption in the evening. I need to check it out because there we have several magnesiums as well, and this will have also have a better sleeping pattern and help during the night to have a good absorption. So that's I've seen a lot that people think every vitamin needs to be taken in the morning because the doctor
Yeah,
said, okay, take this in the morning on an empty stomach, and this is the worst thing you can do. Your body will not absorb. You spend the money on a treatment and you don't have it in your body afterwards. So do it in the
right.
evenings. All fatty, soluble vitamins need to come in the evening.
Thank you. And how much vitamin D does one need to take?
I remember that the doctors recommended only up to 800 units, international units at the time, which is far too low. Because, like I said, population is lacking a lot, and I easily recommend 2,000 units per day, especially
Wow.
in wintertime.
And there's so many different brands. And how does one know you're getting a good quality brand and there's not, you're going to get side effects from different things?
Mm. Yeah, it's normally the good products are labeled correctly. Then of course somebody can also you can have do you have the choice between like in tablet forms, capsules. Some prefer it even in a liquid form, so then you can even have some drops on your food. It's easier to have it absorbed. So this is really, but I would say really look at the units and
Yeah,
especially if you are not a vegan vegetarian, go always for vitamin D3 because you absorb it twice better than the vitamin D2, which is the vegan option.
right. That's great. And also, you touched on osteoarthritis.
Mhm.
What do they need in addition to help the absorption?
The vitamin D3 is very important for our bone health, and it's really important to prevent like the osteoporosis, for instance, which women experience often after menopause. So the vitamin D3 comes into the bones with the calcium, so they go together. So vitamin D3 helps the calcium to come into the bones. But another helper, what I do when there's really osteoporosis, I prescribe or I recommend a combination of vitamin D3 together with the vitamin K2. K2 is the door opener, so to say, because this will open like the osteoblast, how they call it, the cells in the bones is the osteoblast, and the K2 is door opener. That means the vitamin D3 and the calcium can enter into the bones and make a restructuring and growing it, and it's living. Also, in all ages, you can rebuild your bones. That's possible.
Wow, that's wonderful news. I'll check what my mother-in-law's taken because she's just fractured her pelvis. Um, so do people really accept your advice? From my experience, people start off really enthusiastic with natural remedies and then they stop when they feel better. Is it the same like if you took a course of antibiotics and people stop when they feel well?
No, I mean, when people come in my office and we look at the blood test, the blood work, and they see that there's really deficiency, so make it very clear that they need at least to take it like 5 months, I would say, to help the body to fill up the empty stocks of the vitamin D3, and then I invite them to do a blood test to make a control to see if they really gained this, if the deficiency now is balanced, if it's coming back to normal. And then I even invite them to stop the intake of vitamin D, especially during summertime, because even the good things, you shouldn't overdo it, and you should not get your body used to having this support every day. So especially during summertime, you need to go and have this sun exposure and to make your skin also produce the vitamin D. So really, I say make a break that your body is not getting used to it, and then maybe start again in fall or in winter. Then you know that you are prone to this deficiency. But I even invite them not to do it, no, it non-stop. Of course, only people with like a gallbladder removal, I mean, they have really deficiency, so they can't, or like autoimmune diseases, they need the helper. But I wouldn't go then for the high doses of the vitamin D3 all the time because there are different products. Some they go over even up to 10,000. I had American patients, they have 10,000 units per day. So this is then after a while too much. So you should pay attention to it. Or I recommend
Wow.
then maybe just an intake 3 times per week, not every day.
Wow, that's really good advice. And can you provide some real life examples, like of client success stories that have followed your advice?
Yeah, of course, with this vitamin D3, it's there are success stories because, like I say, when people come into office, women mainly with the osteoporosis diagnosis from their doctors, and yeah, they take the vitamin D3, and after 5 months, they go back and they make another test, and then suddenly the doctor says, "Oh, it's no osteoporosis anymore. It's now we can talk about osteopenia, which means it's like the bone is recovering and it's building up substance again." So that's easy to control and to see that there you can reverse these effects.
Wow. And what is it you do to help people on their journey for overall health, like mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual?
Well, I would say it's already a big help for people when they come and see in a naturopathic homeopathic consultation. It's easily 50 to 60 minutes. So I really discuss with these people. I take my time. I check up on the symptoms. I want to know how they feel. not only symptoms they experience in their body, but also mentally how they feel. And they're always so surprised because I have the feeling sometimes they feel better only with these discussions already, because they say that they go to the doctor's appointment, they have maximum 10 minutes and then they are out of the office already. So they feel not really that somebody is listening to their problems.
Yeah, that's so true. We all need to feel listened to, and because when you're rushed in an appointment, you think, oh, that was a waste of time. And
Mhm.
if there was one secret to give about living healthy, what would it be?
Um, I like to recommend people to do the intermittent fasting. It's really to integrate it in their normal routine, like maybe once or twice per week, do intermittent fasting. And this helps the body already to recover more easily, to go into a detox mode and not being all the time in digestive mode. So you give your body the time, more time to flush the toxins out of your body. And I think this is very necessary in our modern times, that we have to live with a lot of toxins, pesticides, insecticides, heavy metals in our environment. We have to live with it. But I think the person that knows how to help the body to detoxify stays healthier for longer.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I've been intermittent fasting for many years, and it was interesting that you, when we chatted earlier, that you said if someone has a cup of coffee or tea in the morning, they're obviously broken their intermittent fasting.
Yes, they do. It's with the black tea and the coffee. So often they jeopardize all the efforts they're doing because they think when they drink, it's continuously doing intermittent fasting. But it wasn't explained to them that the black tea and the coffee is too acid, it's a toxicity for the body. So your liver function has to change again from detoxification into digestion to regulate the pH level of your blood. So the intermittent fasting is over if you take a cup of coffee in the morning, even if you're not eating with it, but it's over. Yeah.
Right. And what about hot water or warm water? Can people drink that in the fast?
Yeah, you can drink, of course, water. You can drink other teas like a white tea, like a jasmine. You can have the red tea, like a rooibos from South Africa, which is very good. And then, of course, you can have the cha, the green tea, which is helping even to detoxify better. And then you can have also like, yeah, you can choose. You can have good juices that you prepare by yourself. Of course, not adding any sugar. I mean, there is also very helpful.
Yeah. That's good. And what is something you know now that you wish you'd known earlier that helped you to get where you are today?
Mhm. Yeah, this is always this what I read and I learned about. I admired the teachings of Dr. Osler, and when he said really like the patient that is taking medicine, a cure, he needs to understand that one needs to heal from the disease and from the treatment. So he needs to heal twice. So this is something I have seen very often.
Wow. And I was about to say who or what has inspired you most on your journey. Don't know
The
if it's
most
the same
inspiring is
person.
like, yeah, it's seeing that the people are changing. You see it, of course, you can see it on the outside. You see that you can reverse their aging process, and people say, "Well, they look so different." But then when you also talk to family members or to friends, and when you know one of these also in when you see them in the office, they say that people they change also like inside. That means then suddenly they have like more positive ideas, they have more projects, they start a new job, they go on more trips. they are plentiful with energy. So you can. This is something really motivating, and also motivating for me is that people with this kind of natural medicine, they understand that they are in charge. They cannot just look for the miracle pill and then they think everything is gonna be back in order. No, they understand normally that they have also to look what was wrong in their pattern, what they have to change in their daily routines, what made them come to the point that they have a sickness. I mean, that's the first thing. Otherwise, you shouldn't see a naturopathic doctor or a functional medicine doctor because you can be sure that you have to change something and that you have to work on things. And it's not just to swallow a pill. That's for sure.
That's wonderful. Um, Yeah, because I guess we live in a very fast-paced world and people are used to quick fixes. So, sometimes you have to take responsibility for your own life and your health and well-being. And that's exactly what you're saying. And I usually ask all my speakers, if there was one thing you could do to change the world, what would it be?
I would give like free vitamin D free to everybody.
Fabulous. And
Yeah.
this has been such an amazing chat. Is there anything else that you would like to share with the listeners?
I mean, there are so many other things that you could talk about. I mean, functional medicine is just about, yeah, like we are like a chemistry box, no? So your body is just made to function perfectly well, but he just needs to have the right ingredients, and then wow, he will perform so good. And yeah, it's amazing what our bodies can do. So
Thank you. Thank you. And I know people can get you on your website, Peggy-Weiss, spelled Weiss hyphen naturopath with an E at the end.com. I'll put it in the show notes with your WhatsApp number and your Instagram and LinkedIn, because I'm sure you'll get lots of questions. And so I'm guessing because you said you see people with their live blood results, people would email it to you.
yeah, I asked them maybe if they can have a blood test done before we speak, so they can send an email to me prior the meeting, the Zoom or the WhatsApp meeting we're gonna have, and then I analyze it beforehand, and then we can really go deeper into discussion and not losing the time that I have first to scan and see what is really out of balance in the blood test. Yeah, that's what I offer.
Thank you. And would you do a live consultation with them, or do they fill out a form and then send that to you as well?
No, I always do it like questioning on live. Yeah. I think it's easier and I like to have the contact with people and not just filling in a questionnaire, you know. There's sometimes often information in between the lines when you have this discussion doing like a medical history with so
It froze on medical history, so I don't know if you answered anything after that.
sorry, I see that we have an unstable internet connection. I didn't
Yeah.
get the last
It
part.
froze. It froze when you said medical history. So it was only a little bit of the history. So if you can repeat that last sentence.
Yeah, it's like I do the medical.
It's gone again.
It's like happened to the patient in his lifetime
It stopped.
to
You'll
see
have
if
to
there
do
is a
it. Stop,
pattern.
stop, stop. It froze again when you said I do, and then it froze.
I do like this medical history. It's during the consultation. So I see what happened to the patient to see if he's always having the same like the same diseases, if he's prone to like pulmonary problems or if he's more prone to liver problems. And this helps already also to define what could be the best treatment to offer, to recommend to this patient.
Thank you. So thank you so much for your great words of wisdom and giving up your precious time.
Thank you so much for having me.